Right, so good morning, good afternoon, welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans, literally all over the world. Now it's the evening segment. Over here in the UK, it's just 2 minutes after 8 p.m. I've got a returning face in Larry, and I've got a newbie in North Bank Ninja. But let's do the intros, and then we'll get back with the formal introductions. Yeah, so welcome to the evening segment on Cannon Fodder TV, where we go through some more news. I won't say so much breaking news, but some more news and some other bits and pieces in between. I've just seen that Arsenal rolled out the new number 2 goalkeeper, but we'll get to that in a little while. Opening gambit, of course, to new viewers. Make sure you subscribe to Cannon Fodder TV. Hit the bell notification button so you can receive all the latest news right here on this wonderful channel. Right, so into the introduction. We're running back for round 2. Larry. Okay, Larry.
Good. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm really, really good. I'm really excited to have another new face on this lovely channel. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
North Bank Ninja. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm really good. I'm really, really honoured to be on. So thank you so much for having me. Really looking forward to it.
Well, yes, I've got to say, actually, I think you were recommended to me by, who was it now? Was it
Lee? Yeah. It's a good story. So he and I became really good friends from meeting in a bar in Mexico watching an Arsenal game. Completely. So I needed somewhere to go watch the semi-final of the Europa League against Valencia, the away leg where Aubameyang scored a hat-trick, remember? And I was the only Arsenal fan in this pretty empty bar. And suddenly some bloke saw me with my shirt on. He saw the Aubameyang at the back, and he came and introduced himself, and we've been really good friends ever since. So it's great. It's amazing, how football brings people together. And I genuinely believe I've made a lifelong friend in Lee. He's a really great guy.
Wow, there's a story in itself. Fantastic. But wow. Well, listen, we're honoured to have you here. Thank you very much. Is he watching tonight? I don't think he's watching, is he?
Oh, he actually exchanged messages with him. He is going to be watching now.
Right.
So so I better perform, otherwise, you've got him to blame. Really, it's his fault. It's not mine.
The pressure's on now. The pressure's on.
Yeah.
Wow, my goodness. All right. So the first bit of news we actually wanted to talk about was on number 10. Apparently there's some comments from our legend Ian Wright. Mesut Ozil is a fantastic player, but he's the ideal player to play under Mikel Arteta, and he's just kind of worried, literally, that maybe he's probably lost his opportunity to play. There's something going on with Mesut Ozil. I've got to say, I'm not his biggest fan. I just think he's a player that's kind of on a decline. He's lost form. Maybe he's lost his passion as well. But Larry, what are your thoughts about Ian Wright saying that maybe Ozil, he would have been ideal, but he needs to kind of show more passion?
Yeah. Ozil used to be a great player. In fact, he was a tailor-made player for Arsenal. If you watch him, immediately he came in 2013. He kicked the ball, the ground running. The first pass he made to Giroud resulted into a goal that day. And it was a fantastic display. When Ozil was Ozil, you will love to watch Arsenal playing. You understand? But now I feel that it's still very much important. What he needs, one, he needs to be spoken to. Probably maybe Vinay and Arteta should call him and sit him down to be part of the process. I don't believe that Ozil is finished totally. Ozil will be a great addition into this club or into this team, to Arteta's team. But he needs to be spoken to. Probably is feeling that, one, probably he has the mind that Arteta was his mate. You know, we are human beings. Arteta was his mate, and now suddenly he became his manager. It's very, it will be difficult. It's natural. Let's not take it away. It's natural. That is one reason for it. Then it's felt that he has been neglected. You see, I felt that problems. Probably he felt that he has been left behind. I believe that if they bring him in and probably the board members sit him down, they should try and create a synergy between them. Let him understand the process. Let him be part of the process. I believe if you watch our game against West Ham, there was no creativity. And you need somebody like Ozil. You know, when a team is not they are sitting back, you need a player who will bring them out. You understand? Who could unlock the defense. For example, you understand? We need somebody like Ozil to unlock the defense where we have Laka and Oba, both left and right, and then we take chance. It's not totally finished, but it needs to be pampered. That's what I noticed.
But Larry, you know, on the Easy Talk on Friday, I'm sure you said that he's a player who's on the decline. So if he's on the decline, does he really have a space, you know, in this, you know, Arteta revolution?
Many things can cause the declination. Like I just mentioned now, probably he's going through personal problems. Left out, and the way people are talking about him is like he felt that it's been left out, it's not being carried on. Are you getting me? I don't say totally a depression, but he's going through emotional problem with the club. Ozil is Arsenal through and through. Let us not take that fact away. Are you getting me? He has, you know, like 2 days ago, I watched his goal against Ludogorets in our first taking off 5 players. Are you getting me? That was Ozil then. And I believe it's just 30 years. I believe he can still do more if he wanted to be taken along as making feel that he's a big man, that he pictured himself to be. He wanted to be respected. Then all of a sudden, they took everything out of him. He's being neglected out of even ordinary friendly sometimes, you know. And then it's just felt, okay, after all, I still have 350 to collect per week. Well, I'll wait and see to the end of the contract. If they like, let them put me. If they like, let them not even add me. As far as I know, I am still under contract. So he needs to be called upon, sit him down, talk to him, let him be carried along. Let him understand the process. You know, because if any player that understands the modus operandi of Arteta can fit into the system. Look at Elneny. He wasn't here last season. He came back and he was spoken to, and he just fit into the team. Bam. Just all of a sudden, he was performing well. I know Elneny doesn't go forward. When he move on, he go to the back. He pass the ball back to defenders. That's what he does. But now he's tackling. See the way he's tackling. You understand? So I believe also the last season that just passed, we knew the level that Xhaka went. That was you know, the way he was talking, addressing the fans. When Arteta came in, he sat him down and he changed, and he has raised up his game also. I believe if we talk to Ozil can perform, but the problem is nobody is willing to do that. I don't know. Arteta is not willing to. Probably, like I said, Ozil is feeling that Arteta was my mate. That, let us not take that away. That sentiment is there. Are you getting it? But people like Vinay can call him. Joshua can be there. They talk to him. Let him feel important. I feel he will still do better.
Okay. Northback Ninja, what are your thoughts on generally about our number 10?
I mean, I think that was a really interesting breakdown by Larry. Look, I think we go back to Ian Wright's comments specifically. I don't really agree with them. I think maybe there's probably a case of it being taken out of context slightly. There was a lot of if statements in what he said. You know, he basically said, you know, if they can get Ozil on side to do what, you know, Arteta wants him to do to play at the intensity, effectively that Arsenal are playing now, then he could be a great player for Arsenal. There's a lot of ifs there. I think the whole point is you could say that about anyone. You could say about any ex-great player. You could say, if they fit into this club's style of play, they'd be a great player. And I think the point is, unfortunately, what Arteta's trying to do with the team doesn't seriously seem to comply with who Ozil is as a player and as a kind of mercurial talent, should we say. So, in the way that we're setting up at the moment, ultimately there's no home for Ozil in this formation. We're playing a formation where you've got three at the back, where you've got two wing backs, and you acquire two fairly deep lying central midfielders. And then to have a number 10 above that, it's too much of a luxury in that formation. So you have to have the attacking midfielders in your wide areas. That's not what he does. Ozil's not that guy. So, I think for me, the big question is, if it is Ozil could potentially add value to this side if we end up going back to a 4 at the back, where we can have another attacking body up front playing centrally. I know at the moment it looks like Willian is sort of the guy they're thinking about playing in that role at the moment. But that's the only role I can see for Ozil in this setup. Otherwise, I just don't see how he can make his way in. But I think also this is one of the most complicated cases I've ever come across of a top player being, it's all too amicable. Everything about it is weirdly amicable. This is a guy. Let's think about it this way, right? Let's think about it this way, right? You've got a guy who is probably one of the greatest German footballers of all time, maybe greatest footballers of all time in theory. Okay, he's won so many things. He's dominated pretty much every league that he's been in at a given point in time. Even when he left Real Madrid for Arsenal that season, where he was effectively surplus to requirements, he was 26 assists. I think he had that season. He was the number one assist maker. He's always been a great player in that regard. And then you've got yourself in a situation where he was still he spent some great seasons in for Arsenal initially. It's that Emery season that where he got injured, he kind of just stopped playing, and he was sort of in and out of the team towards that, and it was a bit weird. It kind of, he still played the Europa League final. He still played that Europa League final, didn't he? But then he hardly played again under Emery, and then Arteta came in, started playing him initially. But then last season, he played about half. He made an appearance about half the Premier League games last season. Now, I guess the point I was making about being amicable, it's all a bit weird because, from the player's perspective, he's putting out messages like, "I'm ready. I'm fit. I'm ready. I can play." And the manager is basically saying, there's no problem there. I picked my best team. It's a tactical reason. Now, it's interesting because it's just enough going from both sides where you're not blaming anyone. You can't really blame Ozil because he's there saying, "I'll play." You can't really blame Arteta because Arteta's there saying, "Well, I'm picking my best team every week and he's just not in it." So there's something strange to me here, right? Because you think with the motivation that Ozil must have for, to be able to become the player that he was, just sitting around, not doing anything, it doesn't quite stack up. Right, it's not making it sound like he wants to leave either. So, is it suddenly his priorities have changed in life? Is this contract, suddenly, the money's great, he doesn't really want to go anywhere. He's a new father. Are all those things? I'm not sure, but I think something fishy's going on. I don't think it's that straightforward.
I don't know. I think we saw with not the demise, but the decline under Unai Emery. I think those strained relationships. And eventually you saw him, there was a lot of injuries, back injuries, wasn't able to travel to away games. But for me personally, I think I'm just seeing it as black and white. That really is, again, we just seen a player who's on a decline, maybe has lost the passion to play football. And he's said many times that he's not going anywhere. He loves London. He'll fight to get back into the first team. He's done it before. But I think under the new regime, Mikel Arteta, I think there's no way back for him. There's too many ifs and maybes, too many conditionals. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
The interesting thing, though, is the fact that he's never even on the bench. There are times, there are games where we clearly want to rest players, yet we still won't name him on the bench. That's what I mean, where something doesn't add up, and it's all too amicable. It's something strange going on there.
But as
Larry said,
go on, Larry. Go on.
there is a gap in between Arteta and Ozil. There's a gap in between them, and this gap needs to be closed. You understand? There's something to read that we don't, not everything, that we don't know everything, what really was happening. So we need to sit the two of them down. I still believe, yes, because this formation of 3-4-3 was because we don't have a central midfield. We don't have an attacking midfield of Ozil type who can create. I believe when we get a good central midfielder, we can change to 4-3-3. It's not as if it's close, or it's not as if Arteta is not in Arteta's plan. But for now, it's an alternative because of the kind of player that is available. So I believe if Ozil can still come into that team, he has experience, and Ozil is Ozil. He's a good player, I'm telling you. Ozil was a German football player of the year like 5 or 6 times. I'm telling you. And he's just 30. What I'm saying is this: there is a gap between him and Arteta that needs to be closed, and also he needs to be talked out of emotional problem he's having. That is why he felt that he has been left out. He got disappointed, and it's even from Arteta to the board, he felt that he should be talked to. You know, when the previous time when they said they should take pay cut, he told them clearly that they should let him understand why they need to players need to do a pay cut, and nobody could come forward to tell him. He has the right to ask, and they are taking that against him. He has the right to ask. If others did not ask, does not mean he has no right to ask. This is where the problem started. You understand? So please, I think there's something that needed to be clear between him and Arteta, and also Vina is supposed to rise up to that occasion.
But Larry,
I mean,
go on, Northbank.
Yeah, all I was going to say is, firstly, he's such an intelligent player. From to have the career that he is, you don't get there by being an idiot. I imagine he's crystal clear about what needs to be done to get into Arteta's team. I imagine he's crystal clear about what the tactical requirements are and what's required of him. I don't think there's an issue there. So because Ian Wright is basically talking about, it's sad that it's almost that someone can't they put their arm around him and tell him what he needs to do. He knows what he needs to do. How many big managers has this guy played under? Again, that his career that doesn't happen by accident. So there's something that's not quite right, and I believe there must have been multiple conversations that have gone on behind the scenes. Multiple.
Absolutely.
I mean, even you watch the Tottenham Hotspur documentary, All or Nothing, right? And that's a really interesting insight about the fact that I think we overthink how some of these conversations happen. Sometimes they're just literally a player going into a coach's office and saying, "What's the problem? Let's have a discussion." Discussions over the lunch table. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure so many discussions have happened. There's something. There is a breakdown. I think Larry, you touched on there's some kind of breakdown. There's some kind of thing which has happened, which effectively they're at an impasse now, where almost it feels like something so big has happened. It's in everyone's best interest for him not to play. That's how strange it feels to me.
But do you not think when Arteta said in his first press conference that it doesn't matter what the players have done like 2 weeks ago or 2 seasons ago, everyone starts with a new slate. Do you not think it was more like a PR stunt to try and smooth over the cracks? I mean, clearly there's some kind of impasse between the club and the player. And again, I'll go back. I think for me, it's plainly clear that Ozil does not fit in Arteta's plans. If you look at the game as Saturday, you've seen Alba run all the way back to defend. Ozil's not going to do that. He's not capable of doing that. So at the end of the day, we've got a luxury player that we just cannot afford to have, Larry. We can't afford to have a luxury player.
Listen, you see, every player cannot be the same. That is why we wanted Partey, because we know he's strong. After all, we have Nene, we have Shaka, but we were still looking for Partey. Are you getting me? Because we knew what he has, and we knew what he could offer. You understand what I'm saying? Ozil is not that kind of player to run forward, to run back. But there's a way, unless if Arteta does not want to bring him to his plans, because Arteta can say anything to suit the purpose of the press conference. Since, as he tried Guendouzi, He has not tried Guendouzi. He has not tried Ozil. I have nothing against Arteta. We are just being playing here right now. Are you getting me? If you know, okay, fine. Ozil cannot move front and run back. I know there's a way you can do in between him and the DM that at his back. You tell them to watch Ozil. If Ozil is moving, fine. Once they take the ball away from him, after all, we have seen cases where the central defense goes back to help the right back or the left back. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so we can do that also to Ozil. All we need from him is the skills at that moment. We still need him. We don't have our yet. We are not sure. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. If tomorrow we have our, then we can say, Ozil, you can sit down. But now we need somebody of Ozil's class to be in that middle. All he needs is encouragement. I'm telling you. Then Arteta there's a way to go about these things. You can tell him, please, when you move front, always come back. Always move from, come back. You understand what I'm saying? So it can be done. It can be done unless Arteta does not really want him in his plans. Because, like I said, there might be something. There can be something in between them. You understand? So we need to clear this thing out. There's something that is not adding up.
But Larry, you're talking about the work rate, Larry. You're talking about, running, etc. Do you think that's a bit of a misnomer? Because the stats seem to suggest Ozil does run a lot in games. Do you think it's partly because sometimes his demeanor makes it look often that he's a bit lazy, but I often wonder whether that kind of takes the attention away from the fact the statistics would suggest he actually does run a lot in games. So again, it's even more baffling. It's even more baffling as to why he can't perhaps adapt his game maybe in a certain way to fit in Arteta's approach. So clearly there's an impasse of some nature. I'm not sure what it is, but it's.
But in North Bank, if we're going to talk about stats, I mean, Ozil is our attacking midfielder. How many goals did he score last season? I think 2. How many assists did he provide last season? Didn't hit double figures. So clearly the stats are even telling you there that the player he is on a decline. And I think Arteta, he's probably made it very plainly clear to Ozil. Again, I'm just assuming here that really he doesn't feature much, or he's not going to feature much in the first team. That's the way I see it. I think that's the impasse there. Ozil's.
I quite agree with you, Alex, in some areas. Yes, with Arteta's intensity in the team right now, Ozil might not be able to fit in. But I still believe that in some games that we are well sure, we know it's Premiership, but there are still some games we can know that this team is beatable. Though we know now Premiership is tough. You understand? But we can't just. My point is, we cannot just leave him to be collecting 350,000 per week and be strolling London up and down. You understand?
And that's my only problem.
So that's I still believe that we can use him in either even in League Cup. In League Cup,
yes.
Are you getting? We can use him. Maybe let him play 40 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, let him come out and let him be replaced. You understand? But at least you cannot just be strolling London and be collecting 350K because that's what you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, guys, I mean, that's why there's obviously something not right? The fact that we won't play, we won't even put him on the bench when we're desperate. We won't put him in these League Cup games. There's something that's happening that we're all trying to guess. We're all having these great discussions, and I think it's really fun. But at the same time, you always wish that the truth would come out at some point because there's got to be something. There's got to be a reason because. Yes, not getting in the team is one thing. Not even being a backup is another one. And going back to your point, Alex, yes, you're right. His numbers in terms of production haven't looked great over the last couple of years. You could layer into that the fact that we as a team have not been that great. It's been multiple different systems. There's been a lot of different managers over the last couple of seasons. So there's an argument to say that. It's all systemic and it's not just an Ozil thing. That being said, world-class players are the ones where you expect, regardless of systems, they pull you up, right? They're the ones that should be able to do it. and he hasn't quite been doing it. So I do agree with you to some degree. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Right, let me go into the live chat to see what's been said so far. I've got my my wingman Monty's back and doing the moderator for me during the evenings. He says, "Welcome, goodness from all over the world." The fist pumps. He says, "Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new here." And what else do we have here? Let's have a look. And we've got Isaac. He says, "Hi, Alex and Monty. Alex Sorensen has been officially signed to replace Martinez." We're going to be talking about that just a little bit later on. But yeah, he has been signed. And I've got Paul Oram, who's a regular, who says, "Hi, Alex, Monty, and all subscribers. I hope, you are well. I have great hope and faith that we will sign both Thomas Partey and Hosam Aouar. We need more steel and creativity in the midfield and offensive." Let's have a look here. Who else do we have? We've got Jack Williams, who's celebrating his birthday today. So happy birthday to you, Jack. Greetings and salutations.
Happy birthday.
And I've got Amit who says, "Hey, Alex and Monty, how are you?" Amit, I'm fine. I hope you are well. And North Bank, there's a message for you. You finally made it, Mortis 99.
Oh, mate.
Emmy was solid for Villa today. Yeah, well, Larry, like I was saying to you, he saved the penalty.
We made a mistake. We made a mistake.
Yeah. Actually, North Bank, what are your thoughts quickly on Emi Martinez being sold to Aston Villa? Were you?
Look, I think that was something that ended up having to happen. I think the guy wanted to leave. He wasn't going to be satisfied being second choice. It's very easy to forget how good Leno was before he got injured. It's really easy to forget that because of that period of time that Martinez was excellent. But if you think about this, let's take a step back. Okay, if before that little patch of games, if you had said we're getting £20 million for Emi Martinez, everyone would have gone. We thought they were joking. They would have thought they were joking. The fact is, we needed to sell. Well, we didn't need to sell, but he's a guy who said, "If I'm not starting, I want to leave."
Yeah.
And ultimately we got ourselves in a situation, therefore, where it was a choice, him or Leno. The guys obviously went for Martinez to sell. That money hopefully will become quite useful, in this window. Although, and I'm sure we'll get to this point later, but I have a feeling we're going to sign another keeper as well, which doesn't fill me with great joy in terms of how well it is to use that money to just replace it, with another couple of keepers. But anyway, I guess we can get onto that later. But I'm happy for him. I saw he saved a penalty, and I think he's a great pro. And when I spoke to a good friend of mine who's a Reading fan, and he and asked him how he thought Emi Martinez did on loan there. This is before he came back to Arsenal, and he said he's been one of the best keepers they've had in memory. He thought Martinez was outstanding. Arguably though, that was probably his first really good loan spell. Like he didn't really seem to shine in his spells before that. In fairness. So look, it's a weird situation to have two very good goalkeepers. It's a very weird situation, but it is what it is. And look, to be honest, if I had to pick between one or the other, and I didn't want to have to pick between one or the other, but I would have sold Martinez. I would have sold Leno. I think that Leno had been really, really good for us leading up to his injury. So, long may it continue. Hopefully.
Okay, good shout. Let me just we're going to talk about this situation here. Apparently, there's some news in regards to Gary Neville talking about our manager. How dare he indeed. Well, anyway, so former Manchester United captain Gary Neville says that Mikel Arteta is punching above his weight. I think Mikel Arteta is punching above his weight. He's going above and beyond the players he has. The shape and the organisation, things we have criticised at Arsenal are in the past. That is good. They are not finished. They're not going to be maybe top four, but he thinks that Mikel Arteta is doing a fantastic job. We've spoken about this very many times over the course of the last week. North Bank, do you think Arsenal are good to make it in top four?
I'll be honest. If I was to predict where we finish this season, it wouldn't be in the top four. I think that, and that's not because we're not making significant strides. It's because, unfortunately, the people around us are also, looking pretty, good. Like Chelsea, fine, they lost to Liverpool, but the amount they've invested, come on, like that's hard to compete with. As much as Man United lost their first game, they're going to be tough this season. They figured out a way to beat, they're kind of flat track bullies, and if they can get that, along with the fact that Ollie generally sets them up quite well actually for big games.
Yeah.
The stats suggest that they'll be difficult. And Spurs with Mourinho, you never know. And it would be foolish at this point to also look at Everton and just cast them out, and Wolves to cast them out. It's going to be tough. Yeah, exactly. So I don't think so. But hey, look, we're going in a good direction, and if we keep cracking on like this, and if we can develop some automatic, it's a really key thing. The best sides have automatic. It's the way that they can just win games without really having to think. All the process is so synchronized. It's so not rehearsed, but they know how to win. Even on a bad day, they know how to win. We saw, Liverpool necessarily, when Chelsea went down to 10 men, they did it. They switched on the automatic. It was just, bang, bang, job done. Teams can switch it on and off. We can't do that yet. We're having to think very hard about how we get results. Every game, there's a lot of thought. There's a lot of precision tactically. The players, you can tell they're all quite focused. When we get that automatic, I think that's when we'll see, us take that next step. And establish ourselves as a top 4 side again.
Okay. Larry, your thoughts so far on Mikel Arteta? I mean, again, Gary Neville says that he thinks Arteta's punching way above his weight, and he's done a great job with this bunch of players we have at Arsenal. What are your thoughts on Mikel Arteta so far?
Alex, what do you expect from a failure like him? He went to Valencia and he failed woefully. You understand? I'm seeing everything as an envy and jealous statements. You understand what I'm saying? So that's my thought on him. But coming to Arsenal on the top 4, I believe if we get, I know Partey that Partey can come in and kick the ground running. You understand? I've not watched Ozil as such, so I don't know. If he can come in and kick the ground just like Ozil did in 2013, I believe we'll get to top 4. But I want us to do one thing. Let us aim at even the league. What's stopping us from winning the league? The year Leicester won it, they don't have big players, but they have good team. They have a good team. They don't have big players, but they have good team. That year, nobody gave them a chance. And this is football we are talking about. With what Chelsea has invested, where everybody thought they're going to be coming to the field and beat everybody. Even Timo Werner said it on interview today. I read it. He said Chelsea will not win trophy this season. He said with Champions League, they are not going to win. This is the person that Chelsea brought with all their money. If you watch their game, Kai Havertz did not do anything. Timo Werner was running up and down.
Yeah.
So it's not about buying big players. It's about getting a good team. And I kept on saying Lampard has gotten himself players that he doesn't have the tactical depth to manage. I'm telling you. So it doesn't matter who and who that is coming into a team. It's about forming a team and be able to play and gel together. That's what matters. I believe if Partey come in, at least we'll know that our spine, we have a good spine. We have somebody who can always stop strikers from coming to score. And the manager has brought in now. Like ordinary, if the season before, that West Ham game, we would have lost it. Or even play a draw game. But they grinded out a win. This is the spirit that is in Arsenal right now. So I believe we can make top 4. Everything is having objective, having goals. I don't know why people believe that Arsenal cannot make top 4, or even the players cannot make top 4. You understand? I believe Arsenal can make top 4, but if we get Partey, that's my own. Osem Ahoa, I don't know about him. So I believe we can make top 4.
Okay. Let me go. Do you want to add something else, North Bank? Or
All I was going to say is, again, I wonder whether this is one of these things where Gary Neville's just picked a really unfortunate choice of words, because it actually sounds like, he said punching above his weight, which seems like a negative term, right? We use that in a negative connotation. But actually, he's gone on to actually praise Arteta, and he's saying he's doing a fantastic job, actually getting so much out of what he perceives to be not that great a squad. So actually, I think he's just picked a really poor term there. Like, I think, so maybe, maybe I wouldn't criticize Gary Neville if he actually has good intentions behind what he's saying there, because, I agree with the fact that, for Arteta or anyone to come in to Arsenal, the situation that they were in, and make such drastic improvements from a tactical perspective, and, these are, fair enough. Gary Neville called some of our defenders uncoachable. Who would have blamed him for saying that? Like, they have been, some of the stuff we've been doing has been comedy in the past, but Arteta seems overnight to have just, wow, suddenly everyone's organized. Everyone knows what they have to do. So, yeah, in a way, wow, like what he's done, it's any manager came in. If you got you got Pep Guardiola to come in, and if they had a similar impact, everyone would be saying, "See, Pep, what a genius! What a genius, Pep! That's how good he is." So credit where credit's due. Like, we've improved so much in such a short space of time. It's remarkable. It's really remarkable.
Right, let me just go back into the chat again. There's just been so many comments here. Let's see if I can try and catch up. Amit says, "Hey Alex, would you exchange Heung-min Son for Laka? I personally would do that deal." Oh my goodness, Larry.
In fact, if I had opportunity for that type of deal, 1 minute. Son is a good player. Son is an excellent player. Son can take on defense anytime, any day. For me, Son is better than Kane. For me, it's my opinion. Wow. You understand? Son is better than Kane. I'm telling you. So I will do immediately. 1 minute. I'll do it.
Wow. What bank?
Do you know what? Like, I really. Well, here's the thing. Let's pause for a second. I think Son is a fantastic player. I think that he's one of the most underrated players in the Premier League.
Exactly.
Like, he's so good. He's so good, and it's such a shame he plays for Spurs. But fundamentally, like, it's not a direct thing, because Laka is playing as a number 9, a central striker, in a system where if Son is asked to do the same thing, it wouldn't work. If Son was asked to play the role that Laka plays in our team, it wouldn't work, because there's so many different things that are asked of those roles. Son plays in a similar role to what Aubameyang plays, for Arsenal. So you wouldn't trade Son for Oba, no chance.
No.
So I'm gonna say no to the question, purely because he wouldn't be an upgrade on Laka in the position that Laka plays for Arsenal.
You know why I will say yes? Because I have Aubameyang, who knows how to go from the middle. It's a matter of switching them. I'll switch the two of them. I'll switch their positions. Simple. ABC.
Okay. Saidi says, if I am to ask, how much was Arteta given in transfer? We need creativity, if not bringing Ozil back. Let them buy Owa before a Liverpool game. A good question. I mean, how much? North Bank, do Arsenal have money? They've got £20 million from Martinez.
If you break down the ins and outs as it stands, we're actually coming out positive on the next end. Sorry, Larry, you might have to go on mute, mate.
I'll put on mute. Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we're actually we're net positive at the moment, aren't we? Because if you take into account the Martinez transfer plus Greenwood plus a few of the other kind of like little bits and bobs, we actually end up getting above what we spent on Gabriel. So look, I think the one of the things, I've got a finance background, but one of the things I realized is trying to understand football finances by way of how much money you have available to spend is incredibly complicated, partly because of the nature of structured deals and the way that you record profit and loss, in the accounts when it comes to players and spreading their value across the course of their contract. It's very difficult because one of the things is liquidity and the other thing is FFP, and they're very, very different things. You could spend a load of cash one window and you could still be within the rules of FFP very easily if you account for it correctly.
But
yeah.
FFP has been suspended this season.
Well, yeah, that's true. That is true. So then it becomes just the liquidity point, right? So how much cash do we actually have? I think this is where you actually also look in the structured deals side, right? Where we've probably got a fair amount of cash that's already going out because of a few players like Pepe and a couple of others. Excuse me. And then and so I can't imagine us getting in a position where we're spending more than about 40 million net. I can't see that. So I think if we're to do deals for Partey and Noah, I think we're only doing that if we're selling players. That's the only way that's going to happen. But you know what? One thing that's really underrated is getting players off the wage bill. Getting Mkhitaryan off the wage bill, fantastic. Just because it was a free transfer, there's a lot of money off. This is where the Ozil money also really hurts you, to have a player who is not playing.
Exactly.
Not playing. It's painful. 350k a week is painful. So,
Okay. All right. Let me go back into the live chat here. Paul Pam says, "Hi Alex. I think we should give Ozil a chance. The match against the Foxes on Wednesday would be a good time to try Ozil. He has the real zest." Larry, over to you, Larry.
I seem to be an Ozil man today. Yes, I agree with him. Considering my argument about him, let us test him against. The game against Leicester is for the League Cup, right? So let's test him. Let's give him a chance. At least everything he has been saying. Let him put it to. Let us see how he's going to do. Let us see his performance. You understand? Let Arteta give him that chance. Let him play. Let's see. Maybe along the line, he might still fit into Arteta's plans. So we don't just write him off like that. Like my friend said, somebody who's collecting 350k per week. You cannot just be left out like that. Let him stress. Let him sweat. Let us see in him. Yes, it's true. He might perform well. He might be good. So let us give him chance. I agree with Paul.
Okay. Ashley D says, if Ozil wanted to play football, he would have left Arsenal. He knows his career only has a few years left, and yet, he would rather stay at Arsenal and get no football. Shows he has no interest in playing football at all. North Bank.
I mean, it goes back to what we were saying before, and I personally believe something very strange is going on. Look, let's think about all the other things here. There has been discussion of him having this autoimmune condition that's been sort of kept under wraps for a while, and that's really affected his health. So, if that's the case, I really feel for the guy, but at the same time, it's still questionable as to how this is all being dealt with. To have a player earning 350k a week and not playing them it's very strange. Look, I think that Wednesday is going to tell us a lot, because if he doesn't play at all, if he's not there, if he's not in the squad, we know, even if we didn't know before, we know something really weird is going on. Okay. Because there is no justification for him to not be involved in a League Cup game, right in the middle of two Premier League fixtures. There is no, before a Liverpool game, there is no justification for him to be not involved unless there's something strange. So, I think the point that, Ashley say whether he has no interest in playing football at all. I guess if we make the assumption that a lot of this is being driven from him, and a lot of this kind of him not playing is him actually actively doing something that is stopping himself playing, then I completely agree. This is something out of sorts from his end. But I really wish the truth comes out, guys. If I haven't made it clear already, I just think there's some stuff that has to have happened because this is just weird.
Joe says we all saw what James brings to Everton. Mesut is 10 times more creative and deadly in unlocking any midfield. Larry, you're gonna have to put. Larry, can you mute your headphones? Because a lot of. I'm gonna have to. All right, in locking any midfield, he needs a strong defensive midfield, and he'll play like magic. Yeah, so I guess the missing link is Thomas Partey, it would appear. Without Thomas Partey, we're not going to see Mesut Ozil anytime soon. Bronze Dosser says, Larry, when you press as a team. Otherwise, there is no point, Larry.
Of course, this is what I've been saying. That's why I made reference to Chelsea's player that they bought. When you move like a team. You move like a team. What I'm saying in perspective to Ozil is that's why I said we need somebody like a Partey to be behind him always, so that when he loses the ball and the opponent gets the ball, there's somebody like Partey who is standing like a rock of Gibraltar, not allowing the striker or the opponent to pass. So that is exactly what I am saying. I am not saying Ozil alone can do it. But when Ozil is moving, Ozil is good at creating football. The problem he has is that he doesn't have the strength to move forward and run backward. We should know it with him. Like I said last week, I pointed out, I said, the president of Real Madrid said why they sold Ozil was that he's a lazy player. We knew that before we bought him, but it's an excellent creative midfielder. So for that purpose, we know, okay, this is his weakness. Let us put somebody to help him out. You tell Partey, please always help Ozil out. There's nothing wrong in that. So that's a teamwork also. But Ozil is one of those who can unlock any defense any day he wishes to play. I know that. And then when you meet a team who want to sit back, what do? You need somebody to bring that will draw the defenders out, and he can create also chances for the attackers. Ozil is in that class. That's my argument.
North Bank, I've not really seen anything of Aouar. Have you seen much of him play?
I've not seen Aouar. I've not seen.
No. Yeah.
Dear.
Because everybody is shouting Aouar. How many of the fans knows how Aouar plays? Some people are just moving. Many of them are moving with the bandwagon. Because they are saying Partey and Aouar, everybody is saying Aouar. Ask them how many of them has seen Aouar playing. I don't know. I've not seen him, but Partey, I'm sure. And he can kick the ball, the ground running immediately. But I don't know about Aouar.
North Bank, did you want to add something on to that?
Well, no, I mean, to be honest, Larry, I agree with the point around Partey's at that age as well, where you would expect them to come in and hit the ground running immediately. So that and it's a position as well where I feel over the last two games, having someone who can carry the ball from the first third to the final third, that type of progression is something that we just don't have at the moment. I'm of the camp that believes that Partey is a more important signing to us than Aouar would be. Personally, that's my belief.
Me too.
And I know the internet's quite divided on that. And I sort of understand why, because people sort of saying we need creativity in the side. Well, I agree, we do need that. But the point is, you can't have your cake and eat it, right? We have a system which has allowed us to be so much more tactically astute, compact. Easier to break the press. You name it. You can't have everything. So you can't throw a luxury player in and move a couple of things around and expect it to all work out. It's not that easy. But I think Partey would slot right in. I think he slots right into this, and I think he really, really adds immediately so much more to this team.
Yeah.
Arsenal plays a free-flowing fluidity football. They are attacking a team. So when they lose ball, this is the problem we have, and that is why we need Partey. when they lose ball, nobody at the back. You can't rely on Xhaka sometimes. Xhaka sometimes he leaves his position. Sometimes he forgets himself also. So that's why we need somebody like Partey, who will always stay there. Though I know it's a box to box, but he moves forward and he can run back. He's a very fast player also. So that's it.
Okay. Go back into the live chat. God's Power Maladi says, how can I become a member? If you give Monty, the moderator, your email address, I will send you the instructions as to how you can be a member. We've just opened the membership. It's open to everyone. I know certain regions it's not open, but there's a way around the system. But send me your email and we'll help you with all the instructions there. Go back. Actually, no, we'll probably talk about the last bit I wanted to talk about, actually. I wanted to get your opinions in regards to this young chap here, Eddie Nketiah. The saviour on Saturday came on 13 minutes and he scored the winner. If we've got youngsters, we've got to give them time. We've got to show them patience. Otherwise, what's the point of having an academy? But so far, I think he's 21 years of age. He scored a hat trick in the under 21s. England set up there, and he came and scored the winner for us on Saturday. Larry, your thoughts on the youngster?
Yeah, it's a good one. I love the way Arteta is bringing the guy in. And I have watched Nketiah. He knows how to position himself as a striker. When a winger is going, he knows where to stand. I've seen him on 2 or 3 occasions against was it Liverpool? He was supposed to have scored 2 goals, if not for the keeper, because he positioned himself and Saka was giving him the ball. So that's one thing with him. But I still miss my man Martinelli.
Yeah.
For me, I would rate Martinelli ahead of Nketiah.
Oh yeah,
because of the work rate and the fluidity and the strength. Nketiah is good in positioning, but Martinelli is awesome.
Okay,
I mean, Martinelli, Martinelli, comes across as a 1 in a million type. He's got literally everything in his locker. Like he reminds me a bit of the Brazilian Ronaldo in that kind of respect. He's got every attribute. I think it's with Eddie. Eddie's an interesting one, isn't he? Because on the face of it, he's very limited. On the face of it, Larry made a comment about his positioning. That's where he's outstanding. Like his off the ball movement as a striker is just elite. His ability to ghost into positions, time is run. There was a really interesting comment that Carlo Ancelotti made about Calvert-Lewin, and he was basically talking about how he's trying to get Calvert-Lewin to be more of a one-touch striker, basically finishing with one touch. And he made reference to, I believe it was Inzaghi, I think, who he basically said, look, guy scored. He said he scored 300 goals or whatever, and 200 of those goals were with one touch. And he said, and it was basically the point was he goes, you need to be that kind of striker. Eddie's that kind of striker. Right? Eddie's the kind of guy that he doesn't have to be involved in the game much, but he'll ghost in somewhere, he'll get in the right position, and he'll finish. And it's easy because he doesn't dribble, he doesn't shoot from range, he's not massive, he's not like So it's easy to kind of go, okay, has he got everything he needs to be successful at this level? But I think if you've got movement like him and you're playing in a system where it would benefit from having a striker who can roam around that penalty area and get in the right positions to take away, to finish. Through balls, crosses, you name it. I think he's a good guy.
Well, here's one here for you, North Bank. Whoops, where is it? Here it comes. From Apollo 101 and Arsenal. It says, limited? What? Ed is one of our best defensive front players.
No, I don't think this guy. I don't think he knows Eddie very well.
Look.
Eddie is a 6 years player. 6 years box player. That's what Eddie is good at. Look at the winner against West Ham. He positioned himself. He did not go offside. Meanwhile, he was moving along the defenders. When he noticed, immediately in a seconds, he noticed that Sepa wanted to pass the ball. He took a step ahead of the defender. You understand? Those are the one type like Filippo Inzaghi that my friend was saying. I watched Juventus very well. Yes, it's true. Filippo is one tap ball, one tap. Because as either the midfield is bringing the ball or the wingers is moving at end, the same parallel. You will see him parallel. You see, once the winger passes the ball, he taps it in, and that's the good job of 9. This is what 9 is meant for. 9 are not meant to run back no. Just stay where you can tap in ball. So. That guy, I don't think he knows Eddie very well. I'm sorry to say that.
Well, you know what? In fairness, like I don't think I have any issues personally with the work that Eddie does for the team when he hasn't got the ball. Right? And I think, well, you know, the point on limitation is around, on the face of it, as an attacking player. If you think about strikers and you think about everything a striker can have in their locker, you talk about dribbling, you talk about shooting from range, you talk about, you know, finishing in the, you know, in the penalty area. He is a fox in the box. Yeah. And I guess the point is, you know, he's not the guy who will dribble past 3 or 4 players and bang it in. He's not the guy who's going to belt it from 35 yards. He's not the guy who's going to run rapidly, you know, for 40 yards and beat everyone for pace either. He's not. So that's what I mean when I say he's limited. But that, in any way, that's a credit to him in some ways, because he's able to be a striker at this level with, you know, with some very clear strengths, that movement, that positioning, that one touch bang, like that Larry was just explaining as well. You know, not many players can do that. He does that very well.
And he will improve. He's only 21, so he's give him time to improve his skills as well. Sorry, Larry, what do you want to say, Larry?
It can be likened to Drogba. You know, Drogba doesn't dribble.
Yeah.
Drogba cannot take on defenders, but he positions himself where he will have a tapping. This is what he does. And football is act of scoring goals. You know, sometimes I do watch when a player does the work and give it to striker and tap it in. Everybody congratulate the scorer. What about the man that did the job? But football is act of scoring goals.
Okay, let me go back in the live chat. There's been so many comments. I'm just trying to pick and choose. If Ozil's so great, how come he's been dropped by Arsene Wenger, Ljungberg, Emery, and Arteta? James has got a move. Bell has got a move. Has Ozil even been in the running for Footballer of the Year?
Oof. I mean, Ozil was, in the season we signed him, I'm pretty sure he was on the Ballon d'Or shortlist. So I think he has a lot, but I agree with some of that sentiment. Okay, and I think the fact is, you know, he has been. I can't recall Wenger dropping him for a serious period of time. I can't recall that. Yeah. But you know, yes, we know Emery for sure. Emery went through that period where he did. He didn't play Ozil, and certainly Arteta very glaringly after the COVID break stopped playing Ozil. So yes, you know, there has been something pervasive there. But look, you know, I think it's all the amount of assists he's rocked up. You know, even ignoring the couple of crap seasons he's had for us. You know, that there was that season. Remember when he raced to I think 23 or 24 by January or something ridiculous like this. You know, you don't do that by accident. That, you know, you have to be real quality to do that, and some of the quality of those assists as well. You know, it's a complex case of Ozil, but I don't think him lacking quality is an issue.
Yeah. Back into the live chat, I've got Stu Max says Emery had Arsenal third, beat current holders of Coppa Italia. Copa del Rey, home and away, before Ramsey got hurt. People need to be patient, but Arteta has the selfless La Mesa movement instilled. Wow. Okay. Thank you for that comment there. Okay. Ashley D says Football Fair Play has been suspended. So how Kronk stingy boy should have splashed the cash. Now, Larry, you think the self-sustaining model works?
Yes.
I don't think it works. I think we need we've got a billion owner who doesn't want to spend the cash. But
you see, every model can work. Execution is the problem. You understand? I said something. If you want to use a self-sustainable system, you should also have a good plow-back system. Plow-back system. You understand? You don't take all the profit. You don't take away all the money you make. you need to put some in your reserves so that things like this, you should know that at every window, we need to get players, we need to sell players, we need to get new players, we need to, appraise the team, appraise the performance, which area do we need to change, which area do we need to have new players, not just to come and take the money and go away. This is what Kroenke is doing. He's just taking, it's just see Arsenal as money-making club. That's all, and that's the period, and that is why the self-sustaining is not working. After all, it has been there since the days of when we signed people like Emmanuel Petit, Ronald Dubois, what's the name again, Henry, and so and co. It has been since Wenger came, he has brought that system, and it was working because people like David Day were there. They don't just take the money and go away. They use a flow-back system where you need to put back some money. So it's a good model, but the execution now is bad. So and the man who is taking the money is not. Imagine for 5 years he has not given us a penny, and he's coming and he's taking the money on advisory roles. I can't get that. So it has failed. It has failed. But I believe when Dangote come in, it will come back.
North Bank, the self-sustaining model.
So, look, I think a couple of things. I think now, because of Abramovich and because of what's happening at Man City, I think all fans feel this almost entitlement to have an owner who's going to come and spend loads of money. I think that's a bit strange, to be honest. I don't really understand that. I think ultimately, you have to really, really, really not mind. You really have to see your club as a plaything to be able to just throw money at it like that, right? And there are some people like that, and fair enough. And some fans therefore want an owner like that, fair enough. But I don't think we should act like we're entitled to that. Firstly, right? We're not entitled for that. And I think secondly, I think the self-sustaining model, because of the likes of Abramovich and because of the likes of the regime at City, it's hard for the self-sustaining model to work and be a top-level club. But that being said, Man United, as much as they spend loads of money on transfers, it's not owner funded. Look at their finances. Their owners aren't pumping money in. Look at Liverpool. Liverpool's owners have actually put a little bit of money, but that was quite early on. They haven't put much money in recently, and actually, that Liverpool's transfer spending, which has been high, has been funded by great sales. Really, really smart sales. So, it can work. But it's hard. It's hard when you've got the likes of Chelsea and City and PSG and etc. just being able to do the things like they're doing. So look, I'm not going to get disappointed if we got an owner who bought the club of Kroenke and is willing to just throw his own money at it. I'm not going to get upset about it, but I don't feel that we should be entitled to. I'm not one of the people who believes that Kroenke's well out of order for not spending loads of money. Like I don't really get it. Like it's but hey, each of their own.
Absolutely. Let me go back into the live chat. There's been a couple more from Apollo, 101 and Arsenal. Guys, Ozil was dropped for not doing the pay cut. I know this firsthand from my sources.
I mean, it would be illegal if that happened. So it's an interesting thing that he has sources who would say that. Let's think about it practically speaking. If Ozil has a contract, if the club turns around and says, listen, we need everyone to take a pay cut, because we're going through a tough time, he can say no. If he says no and they drop him because he said no, there are a number of different employment laws that you're breaking there. Football is no different, right? Football is no different from the rest of the world in this respect. That's basically workplace harassment. That's basically forcing someone to leave. He could take all kinds of legal action if he did that. That did not happen, right? He wasn't dropped for not taking a pay cut. What may have happened is in the discussions around the pay cut, things may have been said that then things escalated into a certain, things were said, things were done, and something may have evolved and things may have got to a point where it was incredibly fractious. And then he I don't know, he might have said something which the coach disciplined him for or whatever, maybe. But he's not dropped for not taking the pay cut. That's no.
Wow.
Actually, when the issue of pay cut came, he only asked them to give him the details. And like I said before, he has the right to say so. You want to take my money, I should know why you are taking my money. So if, like he said, if they drop him because of that, is bad. And a contract is a contract. When he was signing a contract, they did not tell him that he will take a pay cut. You understand? Okay. So he has the right to say no. But I think mostly, you see, that interview he granted in, was it Turkey? When he said he will leave Arsenal when he wants to leave, and so many things. You know, he said so many things out of context, actually, that you as an employee is not supposed to say about your employers. You understand? Let's take this thing to ourselves. If my employee goes public to tell such things about me, I won't be happy. So it's part of it.
Let me try and run through all these last live comments here, because we've been going for an hour and 5 minutes. Like, yeah, quite a long time, but it's gone very, very quick. Let me try and write.
We didn't even talk about keepers, did we?
I know. This is what happens on Cannon Point TV, North Bank. Oh dear. Larry, Arsenal have £250 million in cash reserves, as any good business has, but that money is not for transfers. Okay. Where's the money? Where's the money? 1x99. Football fair play will never work, as they cannot enforce any bans, as seen with Man City. Oh.
Exactly. This is what I want to say when my friend was talking about Man City. This is, you know, Wenger was one of the front runners for FFP, because he knew this, and he said it, that if clubs like Man City, Chelsea cannot be stopped, then the self-sustainable system will not work. You know, last week I said something, Larry. I said the year Chelsea won Champions League, purposely they might have not even won it. They might have even not participated, if not for the fact that Abramovich wrote off 700 million naira debt they were owing him, because UEFA said any club that is owing more than 200 million debt will not participate. And immediately that man wrote off their debt. Assuming they are owing bank, will the bank write off the debt? You see, this is what we are saying. Because they have people who can throw around money, it makes the self-sustainable system to look like a child play. Arsenal is the only club that is being run like a going concern. Every other one has one billionaire somewhere that is throwing money around, and it's not good. It's not good for the system.
But the problem is, again, you know, like Bullocks90 says, that if we've got football fair play rules there, and you've got the likes of Man City who are kind of clearly getting away with it, then it's making a mockery of the rules that Arsenal are trying to stick by.
Exactly. They need to be investigated.
Well, remember that actually. So I agree with the general point, but remember that, you know, the reason why the City case fell through was basically on a technicality around the timing of the filing of certain elements of the litigation. Like, it was a very weird technicality that meant that City got away with it completely, basically. But I think the point is, there are so many hoops that you need to go through in order to come down on a club. And if you hire some top lawyers like City did, you'll find a way of getting out of it. You'll find a way. You know, it's really complex. And again, as I said, like, with the way in which you can account for players, the way that you can account for sponsorship, the way that you can account for so many things, you can make the numbers work. And I think, you know, they need to figure out a way to enforce this, or just not have it at all, because, you know, it's unfair for clubs to assume that they need to do it, and then other clubs get away with it because they've got lawyers available to find the technicalities and whatnot. You know, it's just not fair.
But you know,
not bank. This is what we call politics in football. That's what that just played out. Man City got the money, they got good lawyers, and they were able to settle and see who they need to see. And now they need, and they were lifted from the ban. And that is why what's his name? Pep was not happy with Arsenal. He's saying Arsenal was at the front runner of them to be banned. He's using it against us.
Yeah.
What is very upsetting about the whole situation there is that on Saturday I was doing some housework. I put the TV on. I saw Football Focus, and I saw, oh well, Macclesfield have been they've gone into receivership, haven't they? And so it's upsetting to see in the Premier League you've got billions of pounds floating around there, but it doesn't get filtered down to the lower teams there. How is it so that Macclesfield literally they're about to, well, I think they're closed for business now, haven't they? Because the owner has been found to be allegedly doing some behind closed doors dealings. But there's so much money in football. Why is it not possible the money can filter down to the lower leagues? It's very, very upsetting. But anyway, listen.
That's what makes Premiership different. That's why everybody's fighting to be in the Premiership. There's class. So you need to be among the class.
Yeah, I think it doesn't help that the Premier League runs itself effectively as its own entity, right? So the Premier League negotiates its own deals. It's not the FA. So the Premier League has a way of keeping that. So
yeah.
Doesn't help.
Let me go for this last few. Great show, Alex from Apollo. Thank you for that. And also DWTT says, hello, Alex, Canal 4 TV and panel. Look at Liverpool. Salah, Mane, and Firmino cost £90 million, and they sold Philippe for how much? 140 odd million.
140, yes, 140.
That's excellent buying. Very good buying.
I tell you, this is what Arsenal is lacking.
Just a few more. All right, he's just dominating the chat now. Arsenal, like any other club, has to watch their funds. Without fans, this season will stand to lose £144 million. That's not a good position to be in the cash. Arsenal are playing the smart game. Guys, I have to call this live show to an end. We didn't even get to finish the last comment there. I've gone above and beyond my allotted time. I've got other more important things to do. But no, we've come to an end. We've come to an end. Listen. Larry, it's been really, really good to have you back again so soon after the Easy Talk on Friday. Fantastic. I had lots of positive comments about you, sir. People saying, "Oh, I need to get Larry back on again," and we've got you back on again. And I think you're going to be a regular feature on
always. I'm available always, anytime, man, anytime.
North Bank, better still. Wow, fantastic, quality. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
It was worth the wait because I'm sure we not make contact like a couple of months ago.
Yeah. I think so. I think we may have. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, better late than never. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on. I really enjoyed it, and it was great. It was great talking to you, Alex. It was great talking to you, Larry. Really good meeting you, my friend.
Thank you. Hope to be with you again. I would love to have a session with you.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. I'd love to.
Alex, I can't be a guest without being a member. I can't still not do my membership, and I can't donate. I cannot donate.
We'll sort you out. We'll send you an email. There's ways around.
You have my mail. Okay.
Just like the FFP, there's ways around the system. Guys, I know literally the chat was on fire tonight. For Monday night, it was like just rage and fire there. Unfortunately, we didn't get to talk about the last point, but we can always carry that over maybe tomorrow or maybe on the Friday show, which is the Easy Talk. But to each and every one of you who kind of tuned in, again, the live chat was it was unbelievable. And Monty, who's my moderator, Monty done a fantastic job. I hope you got some people because Monty has his own channel. So I hope some of you have been very, very kind to him. You've gone over and subscribed to his channel. But listen, tonight was a blast to have North Bank finally after like a couple of months.
Okay,
and Larry again.
Tell Monty, I will market him. I said, tell Monty I will market his channel for him. I will tell my friends to subscribe.
But listen, the thing is, North Bank, this is the first time that you've been on here, but I've got a funny feeling it's not going to be the last time you can be back on Canal 4 TV.
Thank you. No, I'd love to be back. Just let me know. I'd love it.
Brilliant.
Anytime.
But anyhow, if you guys have been wondering, that's all the live viewers, you've been wondering who you've been watching and who you've been listening to. You've been watching Cannon Fodder. the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world.